Hi there guys, welcome to this video. Today is not your casual video. We're gonna talk about steroids. Should you be annoyed at people taking steroids? This is a question that is pretty normal to ask yourself if you're natural and you've been gymming for quite a long time. You might have realized that some people in the gym, they take products that you don't, and they annoy you. They annoy you for many reasons, and the more you advance and the more you spend time in the gym, the more you could be annoyed at this behavior at the fitness industry that we see today. And I'm gonna try to give the reasons why you can be annoyed, but why there is also a reason not to be annoyed and to reconsider these thoughts, because I used to be really annoyed at people taking steroids to the point where I was almost hateful, and I think this is more in a particular case. We're gonna talk about it, fake natties, etc. But then this kind of thinking, I would associate it to every people taking stuff at some point. So I just want to make a point about what I've been reflecting on and how I'm trying to approach my thinking towards people using products and the fitness industry the way it is, and how with this kind of thinking we can actually come to something more reasonable where everyone is happy, everyone is evolving together without being angry at each other, basically. So let's start this video right now. The reasons why you could be annoyed at people taking steroids. So the first thing that I believe is annoying about people taking steroids is that there is a vast majority who just don't want to see the truth. The truth that these products help massively. In most cases, people are responding well to steroids, at least people who just have, I guess, a normal understanding of training, who train not particularly hard. If they're somewhat responding well to the drugs, they are gonna blow up and they're not gonna make much effort for that. Most people will think that because they work out 4 or 5 times a week for an hour, they actually work hard, and this huge muscle that they've built is thanks to this hard work. But let me tell you, some natural bodybuilders, they spend 3 hours, 4 hours a day in the gym. They not even make a noise when they're in the gym. They don't even scream or anything that we can see these days.
Fuck! Guys, you gotta cut that shit out. Not in front of me. Bro, don't fucking play games. I will fucking bloodshot you. I just asked to move to the fucking side.
That's one reason to be annoyed at people taking steroids. They basically pretty much steal the show in a lot of situations, and we can see this in the natural competitions. It is a pretty unfair sport where it's hard to regulate and to find out who is taking stuff or not, and there are people taking steroids who steal the show when they go to natural competitions. Some might be natural on the moment, but they've been gearing for 10 years prior to this. So they get on stage, it can't be found that they're using stuff, but they've been using stuff for so long that they still have help basically from the steroids that you used to take. They have good androgenic response, and so they beat people who are natural on stage, who are working very hard. So that's one reason to be annoyed at people taking steroids. They don't really accept the truth that it helps massively. So when you're natural and you work very hard in the gym, that can be annoying to see that the fitness industry is basically managed by these people and not the people that feel like they're actually bringing real truth knowledge to others, etc. Another thing that is very annoying is that people like also to downplay how bad it is for your health. It just literally kills you, let's be honest. Have you ever seen as many people as there is today dying from steroids? I've never seen that before. I mean, even 5 or 10 years early, there was already a lot of bodybuilders that were dying, but today it's even worse. I can't go on Instagram and not see on a Generation Iron post or online on Fitness Vault post that a bodybuilder hasn't died this week at like 40 years old. And then I'm not saying that it's always due to steroids, but it's very often due to steroids. And most steroid users like to say that it's not for steroid reasons. You don't obviously want to blame someone that isn't dead from steroids, that is died from steroids, but in most cases they will be dead from something that you can't really tell it's directly correlated to steroids, but if you think about it, it was actually probably provoked by the use of steroids. So that's another way of downplaying basically the danger of steroids. The harm is downplayed. You can see it all the time online. People who say, oh, you can do it healthily, you can take steroids the right way, but the truth is that it's not that some people take it the right way, they're just resistant to the drugs. perhaps, obviously, there is a right way to take them in a way that, blasting a huge amount of trend when you could just take testosterone is totally ridiculous, and obviously you're gonna be way more at risk than if you did things slowly, gradually, like everything, or like all the things that I present in bodybuilding. It's gradual, taking your time, going into details, making sure that you're doing the right things. Is the same thing for steroids. There are more chances that you can do things well if you're not in a hurry, but at the end of the day, what I mostly notice is that some people will last longer than others, and some people who do things the right way, after 2 months, sometimes they literally are gone. They don't have testosterone levels that will ever get back to what they were before, and some others, they're gonna do the things wrong and they're gonna be there for 30 years and still on stage. So it's really upon the person, upon the genetics, the response to the drugs, and so there is no way to take steroids healthily. You can probably try to be doing things the best you can, of course. It's put these chances on your side if you're gonna do it, but in my opinion it's actually overrated. It's not as good as people tend to say, and you can't take steroids healthily. So there is no steroid use that is healthy, and that I see it all the time in the comments. And whenever I was in Facebook groups trying to help people and say, oh well, blah blah blah, steroids, people will always come up to me saying, you don't know anything about steroids, like you can take them healthily, you can do this and that. And I'm just like, I'm not even answering to these people anymore. And unfortunately these people contribute to teenagers, people who don't know much about the gym, to take these fucking products and to actually really impact their health. That's another reason to be annoyed at steroids. People who take steroids, those who are gonna think that they're not that dangerous, those who haven't, they've just been taking for 1 year and they haven't waited 2 years to see that they're actually be really gonna damage from these products, and that they pass on and they tell other people that it's not that dangerous, and so they fool other people into thinking that it isn't dangerous, and they encourage people taking products. That's another way to really be annoyed at steroid users. Another reason to be annoyed, good natural bodybuilders are called out for being on steroids. Some people will say, oh, it's a compliment, people think I'm on steroids, but honestly, after you've been told that a few times, you actually kind of get pissed off. You're like, why can't people just realize that you can achieve a great physique naturally? I really don't appreciate anymore people who say you look like you're on steroids when you're natural. I understand that it can be taken as a compliment, and it felt that way a few times, but at some point you just want to have people actually believing that they can achieve a great level naturally. And so this really pisses me off over time. I don't think it's a compliment. It's just people not knowing their stuff, and people contributing to making people believe they don't have any potential, and basically having normies all over around the fitness industry. Another reason to be annoyed is that the sport is pretty unfair. So I've kind of mentioned this with natural competitions, but in my opinion, even within the enhanced world, I know that it's to an extent, the more you take doesn't make you the best bodybuilder, but in some cases there are still things that you will, some people will be okay to take that will give them an advantage compared to other people that will want to take these things. And so there will always be a part of unfairness in the sport. There will be some people obviously with great genetics, great response to the drugs, that will be growing, getting huge, and some other people who might take the same stuff and work harder, who won't get to the same level. And so the steroid part is even worse. When you look at the natural bodybuilding, well, there's some guys who might have great genetics and great proportions straight from the start, insane abs, symmetry, etc. But here there is not as much unfairness. Like a natural bodybuilder is usually gonna be from hard work and really how much you're ready to be involved in the practice to have a very great level. Whether steroids, again, it helps so much that this really changes. And so The enhanced side of bodybuilding is really unfair. It's pretty annoying when, if you're someone who still likes bodybuilding and want to watch some competitions, for example in classic things, in my opinion, which don't look too bad yet, but still see some people that might not, work as hard as others and are well responding to the drugs, and that basically steal the show of others. This is something that is quite annoying. I see people using steroids, again, that's how easy they have it sometimes, but how they tell you how hard this is. So now I want to jump into the part why you should not be annoyed at people taking steroids, because the issue is that obviously when I told you all the reasons to be annoyed, and there are probably many more reasons to be annoyed, is that now when you spot someone on steroids, you directly think that these people is one of these reason to be annoyed, but it's not always the case. Even though it's a majority of people, I guess, that you could be annoyed at for providing false information in the fitness industry, you can't look at everyone and putting them all in the same box. So that's why anyway there is no way to be angry, and it's probably better to take a step back and just not be annoyed at things the way they are for now. So the reasons not to be annoyed at people taking steroids. Well, the first reason in my opinion is that we all do mistakes. And a lot of people who take steroids, they'll be the kind of like douchebags bragging in the gym, showing their gains, very happy about themselves, drinking every weekend. But there are also a lot of people, they're on something and they actually regret it. And some of them don't actually manage to really find a way out of it. So they keep being on TRT, for example, and obviously it really enhanced their results, because TRT or being at low testosterone sort of therapy and taking low doses of steroids still helps massively, and so they might really get results from that and have an insane physique. But they regret taking steroids, and so you can't be annoyed at people who make mistakes like everyone else. And if you consider that is a mistake, but I consider that taking steroids is a mistake if your goal is to live long. Basically, I think that for your health it's a mistake, and so if you consider that this is a mistake, then you can't really blame everyone, because also of the state the fitness industry is, and how easy, if you're a beginner, it is to get fooled. For example, with SARMs, we see so many people using SARMs these days, and then they just think it's like a supplement, because you can actually find them in shops nowadays. SARMs, you can find them in shops and they're sold legally. That's pretty crazy, I know, but I've seen that before. I've heard that in some shops that wasn't far from a gym I used to go to, and they were selling SARMs, and they were basically sold as legal supplements. Yeah, and they're sold online everywhere. So you have literally teenagers nowadays who will go on sites that are malevolent with false information saying that SARMs are legal supplements and that they're okay to take, and they will take it like it's creatine or protein powder, and then they will literally dysregulate their hormones, etc. And some of them will get maybe hurt for life if they do it for too long. They see nice results, they're not hurt yet, and then they take it for like 5 months or 6 months. They do a full cycle without knowing it, and then they're like, they have literally problems. And after they're being told that they need to take it easy, back into trying to get to normal levels, and some people might not even get back to these levels. Some were unlucky. I still believe that if you really work hard, you could get back to your normal levels if you're really willing to do it. But in most cases, sometimes it's hard to get back to normal levels after you've abused your body with certain drugs. And so this is what we see nowadays, and I don't you can't be annoyed at these people who, yes, they look on gear in the gym, but you don't know their history, you don't know where they come from, you don't know what happened in their life, who made them drop on the stuff. And to be honest, if they're not the kind of people who are gonna brag around and take pictures every day on Instagram and trying to show like their steroid gains, thinking they're fooling people that they're nutty, you can't basically judge everyone that is on steroids. And it will bring me to also say that we have to communicate probably a bit more in this industry to try to find where everyone comes from, to actually make it a better industry, rather than like fighting against each other, like, oh, you're on steroids, oh, I'm natural. Like trying to understand everyone where they come from, so things get a bit better. Also, it comes with what I just said, steroids are addictive, and I want to also really bring this out, is that we have also to stop saying that natural bodybuilders are incredible and that they're the healthy guys, they're the superheroes, because natural bodybuilding, it starts here. I mean, addictive practice towards the sport of bodybuilding starts with natural bodybuilding. Most of the people, when they're gonna take steroids, they still usually have some months behind them of practicing bodybuilding. They're not just jumping on steroids straight away. They're unsatisfied with their body, they have body dysmorphia, and they jump on steroids because they want more. So, natural bodybuilding is addictive already itself. And, myself, I entered this and I love it. So, it really goes with, wanting to do a lot and actually be addictive to it. So it's like an addiction that still has benefits to it because I really love it. But I've been there, in the really big anorexia phase where you're like, it's never big enough and you're literally addictive to it. But I just never wanted to cross the way where I'm gonna use steroids because I knew it was the level up where, I could never come back from it. And I knew that at least with natural bodybuilding, it was very interesting because not a lot of people are willing to push the boundaries of natural and all this natural limit that we hear. So I was like, this is actually very interesting to see how far naturally I can get. And so, for me, the natural way was fine, but still under some sort of addiction and wanting to, train very, very hard. But it's just to say that natural bodybuilders, you can't say that they're superheroes because of natural, because a lot of natural bodybuilders suffer from mental health conditions such as bigorexia, and most of the people who take steroids at some point were natural bodybuilders who just weren't satisfied with their body and they wanted to get bigger. So again, let's see where people come from. Maybe steroids are not always used because you want to brag around in the gym and being the annoying fake natty guy. You can also be just someone who's has struggled not to take these products and they're quite addictive and they just can't get out of it. Again, a reason is that, like I said earlier, pretty much quickly, is that obviously the influence of the fitness industry make it in a way that you're gonna be tempted to take these products without really knowing their effects. There's a lot of forums and there's a lot of discussions, a lot of posts, blog posts in the internet that will literally just tell you the benefits of steroids and they won't tell you the negative impact that they have. I swear there are people that are ready to make money on your back and they will literally write blog posts who are just highlighting the benefits of steroids. I've seen that last time. I was going on the internet and I came across a steroid article who was just highlighting the benefits. It wasn't even saying be careful though because this is dangerous. No, just the benefits linking to some or steroid website. This is fucking crazy. So let's not forget that some people are literally influenced by the shitty fitness industry to take these products. We can't blame these people all the time because they're on steroids or because they've carried on with taking the stuff, because at first they were actually dragged into this, and again maybe today they're on TRT because of these things. Now the last that I guess we can't really blame are the ones who genuinely wanted to take steroids. They don't care of the outcome, they just really love it. They want to push the boundaries of the natural and they want to see how far they can get with the steroids. They want to be going on the Olympia stage no matter what. As naturals, they had great potential to become one of the biggest guys if they took these products. They decided to do so, and most of these people usually aren't the ones that are going to promote steroids around. I mean, most of the people that we see today promoting steroids and having a really bad influence in the fitness industry are fake naturals. Fake naturals are the most annoying ones in the fitness industry. They're doing this to their advantage. They try to sell products for their own income, for their own brand, to feed all this, and that really sucks. Again, I think the people like Jake Cutler, weren't big promoters of steroids, like obviously they might have influenced one or two people who were like, oh wow, they look incredibly big, like I want to be as big as they are, I'm gonna take stuff. But nah, they just really did it for because they had amazing potential doing it, and they weren't yelling it in all the corners, that they weren't downplaying the sides of steroids and the bad side effects. So these people aren't really the ones that are an issue to the fitness industry. The issue are more the people that are fake natties, the ones after 1 year they are jumping on men's physique stage and like thinking, you know, they've done something incredible, when they actually just, you know, been taking products for 1 or 2 cycles. So now for a conclusion, I just want to say that I think communicating is better, and you know, trying to understand where people come from is probably more important, mostly nowadays in the fitness industry, and to try and not judge, even if it's tempting, and even if at the moment it feels like a lot of people who use performance enhancing drugs are stealing the show from people who are not using them, and that the sport, you know, is pretty unfair. I think that, you know, we'll come to a better end, at least if we all try to communicate rather than yell at each other, basically, even if we don't agree on certain things. And I think there are more people than we think of that are under the products and are regretting it afterwards. So the goal is more really to communicate, to try to promote, I guess, natural bodybuilding, and to promote what you can literally do naturally, and actually the danger of steroids, rather than try to just yell at people taking steroids. So you should be annoyed at, you know, the unfair part, at fake natties, at people who are literally trying to sell these products to make money, etc. So at, you know, the unfair side of steroids, but, you know, remain communicative to understand better people and where they come from before making, you know, assumption on who they are, etc. Because as I said, when I was in the gym all the time, each time I would see someone on steroids, I would be annoyed, literally. But now I'm just trying to, like, you know, try to see where they come from and actually see how it can be better for both worlds. So that was the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you can subscribe, share and like if you did so, and, you know, just leave comments under the video and see what you think, and if you think it's better to, you know, not be too aggressive and actually understand where people come from rather than just saying, oh, steroids, steroids, steroids. See what you think. Thank you for watching.